Today's edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox is brought to you by Grandpa's Cafe in Dania.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the frim fram sauce with the awesome bay with shafafa on.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. It's a double-header Wednesday, and we're having a little bit of a breakfast/brunch with our friends at Grampa's Bagel Cafe and Deli in Dania Beach. We've got one of the Marx brothers here. We got Mark Goldberg, co-owner, proprietor of this fine establishment, and we're saving a chair in reserve. It's kind of I feel like
it's Passover.
Passover. We got the Elijah.
Defo there and Elijah / Mark Fried there.
Yeah, and we've got Lubie on the mixing board, and we got Jeff Defo the Forest in a corner back at his homestead. How are you today, Defo?
I'm good. I'm very encouraged. I know you made a score in the Kentucky Derby, as it seems like most people did, but I put $20 on Donald Trump at 100,000 to 1 to be the new pope.
Okay.
Right? So you know how they lined up all the cardinals and they came into the conclave?
Yes.
One of them had a MAGA hat on. He had like MAGA on his little red cap. So I'm thinking maybe I got a vote in there. So my $20 could turn into
a flyer.
$2
Well,
million.
meanwhile, talking about shocking upsets, welcome back to the show, Mark Goldberg. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
And I know did you have a score on the Derby, or your friend did?
A friend, yep.
I saw you guys, Fried and you and some friends and family were at Christine Lee's on Saturday. I dropped by because I was making the rounds at Gulfstream pre-Derby. And how are the ribs?
They're the best ribs.
I love the spare ribs. We love the ones at Juan's too. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to be into the new Juan's. I know you're a Rainbow Palace fan too. Right? Yeah, all good. But how's life in the deli world?
All good.
And we're getting ready for Mother's Day. We're going to be talking about that. But talking about shocking upsets, forget who's going to be the next pope. I don't know. We did this matzo ball soup finalist blind tasting. We did have judges. We had 3 judges yesterday, and Grandpa's was one of the finalists.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be a contender, and it did finish top 3.
Top 3.
It hit the medal stand, but it was absolutely shocking. If somebody told me, Jeff Defo the Forest, what would be the more unlikely thing that either Cleveland would be down 0-2 in their series after losing 2 home games to Indiana, or 2J's Deli winning a blind testing.
Really?
Yeah, no, Fried was all over it. Fried was watching it. He called me right after the show. And I don't want to say what he said exactly, but it was something along the lines of, even one of the judges, a professional chef, Danny Surfer, nice Jewish boy who owns Blue Collar, and he made his own batch of soup, and we had it after we did the other blind tasting. But he even put 2J's number 1, and he was in shock when he realized.
Blind. I was there. It was 100% a blind taste test, and all 3 very matzo ball friendly judges knew their matzo ball soup. We're grading it accordingly. They all like 2J's best.
Wow.
I don't want to say it's under protest, but I went around to all 5 finalists in the last few weeks, and a few more, but just to kind of get the lay of the land. And when I went into 2J's, and it was the same location that I actually picked up the soup for the blind tasting, which is right, it was like around the corner practically. And when I was in there in person, it was the matzo ball tasted like old, and the soup tasted, I don't want to be unkind, but like just like plain water. So I was shocked, but you know what? Inconsistency, I guess sometimes some people have bad days, and some people, I guess the batch, I never did get to taste the soup that was presented yesterday. Maybe it was good, and the matzo balls, I guess, were all right. But where do you stand in matzo balls? I know you have some good stuff here, and you've had, obviously restaurants all over the place, Long Island. Your matzo balls are floaters, right?
Yep,
you believe in floaters, and you also believe
airy.
Yes, and noodles are not served in the matzo
They don't even
ball
have
soup
noodles.
at 2J's. Yeah, no, it did
It was
not.
weird.
A very, very strange result. But we'll let that be. We'll let Fried talk about that. He was watching the show.
Oh yeah, he was intense.
Yeah, he was intense. But it's but you guys are known for your bagels here, and that to me is what we want to talk about coming into Mother's Day. Stuff is going on here, right? You got a good
Yep.
place to bring mom.
Yep, that and platters of Nova, whitefish, bagels.
We got the beautiful
Yep.
trio here.
Yep.
And it's
Always a busy day.
always a busy day, and it's still holding steady every time I come here, which is frequently. The parking lot, it's hard to get a parking spot,
Mhm.
so people still are streaming in here. All right, Defo, what did you think of where the playoffs stand, both with Cleveland being in an 0-2 hole, and also, did you have any thoughts on 2J's somehow winning? Have you been to a 2J's recently?
Recently, I would say no. Probably 20 years ago, maybe the last time. I used to have a business associate that frequently wanted to meet at 2J's, and that made me think maybe I want to have another business partner. But I don't know. I mean, no denigration. There are people that really like it. I can't imagine that compared favorably with what you get at Grandpa's. And maybe some of the other places. I know a good friend of mine who's a connoisseur of such things is a big fan of Ben's, but he's more of a Boca guy, so he'd be unlikely to come down and visit Grandpa's in Dania or Goldberg's, which is kicking butt, by the way. But it's no surprise. Blind tasting. And actually, that result makes me think that when we did that blind tasting on the jars of spaghetti sauce, that ragu would have been the winner
No,
if we picked that out. And yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. Look, that was a blind tasting, literally, and unfortunately, I guess you had like the equivalent of Supreme Court justices on the judging panel.
no, I'm not going to denigrate the judges. Dan Surfer is a guy whose palate and whose restaurants I respect. And then we had, two women who, one from the Sun Sentinel, Lois Solomon, and then the new editor of the Jewish Journal, Jessica Tsikas. And look, I'm not going to question.
Was it unanimous, Mike?
Well, I can't reveal. All I'm going to say is that on the point system, that it was basically it was top of the ballot of two judges and second place on another judge. So it was close to a.
Where was it on your score? Oh, you were recused from this one.
I recused myself. All I know is I went around. Yeah, I'm going to reveal my own tastes because I went to the 5 finalists, right? And the bowls of soup that I got, and with no ill intent to your friend, but Ben's kosher. It's the only one that is a kosher deli, and I think your friend is kosher, so maybe he's not eating the other soups. Very plain soup, doesn't have any accoutrements, no chunks of chicken, no celery, no nothing. It's just very plain broth, minimalistic, the thin noodles, and a matzo ball that was kind of way big. And Ben's is okay, but that was 4th. 2J's was way at the bottom of mine. It was just not good. And then I had Top Hat in 3rd, and then it was a tie for 1st between 3G's and Delray Beach and Grandpa's, because I think the flavor of their broth and the way they have that, you like it like that, Defo, where it's chock full of the vegetables and the chicken, and kind of it's like a meal in a bowl. It's not just a plain barren soup, right? So
I'm judging it also, and I think both of the marks. I do an outstanding job. The taste of the vegetables. See, I grew up and my grandmother made a great matzo ball soup. So did my mother. And the carrots and the celery, the onions were important to me. That element has to come out. And maybe it's not overwhelming, but when you shovel the carrots in off the bowl of soup, has to be a plus. And I think they do a great job at Grandpa's. And
they certainly do, yeah. And Goldberg, what do you? I mean, you consider those components essential, right? Having everything in there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you got planned for the summer? Are you going to stick around here, or are you going to go back and forth?
Yeah, I'm going to go back and forth. I have bagel stores in the Hamptons, and I'll be working those. But I'll be coming here like every other week for 3-4 days.
Yeah, JetBlue is like the old 7 line on the subway train, right?
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that. So I hope you have a great summer going back and forth.
Thank
I know
you.
Fried is probably going to be going back and forth to visit his grandson, right?
Yes.
Denver, and he's enjoying that. Do you have grandkids? Or
Yes,
you,
I do.
How many?
Just one.
Just one. All right. So mitzvah. I mean, it's great to have the
Yep.
grandkids.
Yes, it is.
All good. All right. Well, thoughts on playoffs? We might as well talk a little playoffs until Fried gets here. Defo, what's the bigger shock that that Cleveland is down 2-0, or that the Knicks has won a game against the Celtics,
Yeah.
or that the Panthers have found out? You're a big fan, right?
Yeah, Nick fan.
Yeah. Do you think they could pull it off?
It's tough.
Defo, you think they could pull it off?
Maybe. I mean, they got the first leg, which every game, as we often talk about, is pivotal in the postseason, especially that game one on the road. And now they're in there with a kind of a free pass where if they win tonight, and let's face it, 2-0 commanding lead going back to the Garden. The big surprise, I have changed my betting strategy. I've been talking about this. Now the new thing is, and I just somebody sent me an article from one of the outfits I work with that showed that people in America are betting more money than they're investing, which might be a wise move because even though you're not necessarily guaranteed that you're going to get anything back here, investments right now seem to be suspect. But I'm now at the point where when the game seems to be so hopelessly out of hand, the more out of hand it is, the more I want to send it in on a team that's in an insurmountable situation. And that was again the case last night. But so far, all underdogs in the second round of the playoffs. There hasn't been a single favorite that's prevailed. And they're losing the games outright. So the NBA, normally a very chalky league. I don't know. I don't think they serve milk and magnesia there at Grandpa's, but very chalky league. You have that ugly taste in your mouth. Has been all upset so far. So it's
Talking
created
NBA playoffs. Now we welcome to the show Mark Fried. So we've got both Mark's brothers in the house. We couple of Knicks fans here, a couple of New Yorkers. And do you remember the last time the Knicks won it all?
73.
73. Can you do the math on that? How many years it's been?
52.
52 years.
Okay, so what's the problem?
What's the
There
problem?
are teams that never won.
Problem is you're a Knicks fan, so you've been waiting a long time.
And you probably jumped on the bandwagon with Chicago, right?
No. I only jump on local teams' bandwagons like the Panthers because I grew up a Rangers fan. You guys are probably Islanders fans or something.
Not I.
No? Okay. Rangers. All right. Well, now the Rangers are sitting at home, and the Panthers are trailing 1-0 to Toronto. They'll do game 2 tonight, and
they're okay now. They took out the goalie.
And you've heard of America.
No problem. That's you take out the goalie, you can't score. That's a problem.
Former Panther, and
Yes,
I don't know
he
his
is.
status, but all right. First of all, you came in. I heard you just grumble like matzo ball soup. So we had a little brief discussion before you
Did
got
you hear
here.
this?
Yeah.
You hear who won?
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Shocked. So is Mayo.
We were shocked. No, I'll tell you, the judges, I was there, the judges that voted for it, and they were fine patrons of that establishment, still all were shocked. Like,
Wait.
But
Oh,
they're
yeah.
patrons of those.
like
of
they've
the
gone there in
winner.
their life.
I'm not going to say what I
No,
want to
they
say.
didn't.
I can't.
They've gone there in their life, and they all thought that the smaller mom and pop style restaurants would and should win. And we all were shocked when it was like 2J's. Where did that, and again, not to slam any establishment. It's just when it comes to something like soup, especially matzo ball soup, it feels so close to home, so close to the heart. The word soul is like intertwined with something like matzo ball soup. So to think of a place that's gone to the size that 2J's has gone, it was very peculiar to see them win that.
It
was blind. I'm telling you right now, it was 100% blind. Like, Mayo knew which ones each soup was. They had no idea.
I didn't say nothing
I
to
had
nobody.
an idea.
Okay.
And when they were making their comments and they were heaping high praise on the matzo balls and the broth from there, I was like arching my eyebrow because it was a complete 180 experience from what I had. And again, it's not that food is subjective, and I guess the problem is some places are inconsistent. Where one day they could produce award-winning soup, and the next, it's like when I'm in there and I'm eating it, I'm like saying, "How is
Not
this
award-winning.
How is this one of the finalists?" And again, I'm glad to see that both like you and 3Gs were,
At least we're in the top 3.
2
at
and
least,
3. You hit the medal stamp, but in my mind, like 3Gs and you guys,
You had a good show, Bruce. I was happy. I don't have a problem finishing behind him.
yeah. But
I'm going to actually stop by 2J's and get a soup, and I'm going to test it myself.
okay. You gonna eat it there, or you gonna take it home? Or
Oh,
'cause
I can eat there.
well, it's like I like eating the soup in its natural habitat.
course.
Oh, yeah.
This one's still open, right? The one in
Yeah,
Dania
Dania
Point.
Dania Point is the one that I picked it up for the contest. It's the one where I ate like
You
maybe
sure you
10
went into 2J's? Right?
It was 2J's. It wasn't here. And again, look,
I
congrats.
just got to check all the bases.
I love that you
know what I mean,
watched.
Lubie?
I love that you
And it's
watched.
Lubie, I
funny.
got to check all the bases.
I love you should. No, you should honestly.
It's funny because Dan Surfer, who's great chef, and he lives in Miami now. He had spent some time in Broward, and he's a nice Jewish boy. He runs blue collar and mignonette restaurants in Miami. He's involved now with the new kitchen at 26 Degrees Brewing in Pompano Beach. But he's been around. He's been at different delis. And in his mind, before the contest, when he heard the finalists, he goes, "Oh, I like the soup at Grandpa's." He had never been to 3G's, I don't think. And he also was saying that he didn't think much of 2J's soup. And
But when I heard that there were two first votes, right? Two first place votes.
Yeah.
That don't mean that he voted for that, which I doubt he did.
well, I know what he did vote for the number one.
Did he?
And it's something we're going to hold
He
over
was
him
shocked.
for the rest of
just
his
so you
life.
know, this is the only soup that had no noodles.
Yeah,
No
none.
noodles in it.
Not any
No,
noodles.
Ben's,
It was
right?
it was a noodleless soup. No, Ben's has the thin noodles, the
Okay.
thin
But
egg
This
noodles.
guy had none.
And nothing else. Ben's literally is a
So-
matzo ball, noodles, broth.
No, but the 2J's does have little chunks
Yeah,
of
they have stuff
vegetables
in
and
it, yeah,
chicken, but no noodles. So I don't know.
And they all said that's a -1, that's a -1, no noodles in there.
Yes.
but they
And
like.
then they picked.
And they picked them.
It was weird.
Where was the contest?
We held it at 26 Degrees Brewing because it was neutral
Okay.
ground and it was in the middle of all the places, and everybody ran around. I had my assignments. They didn't assign me Grandpa's because they knew,
The show.
so I picked up the ones from Top Hat Deli in Fort Lauderdale and the one from.
So you were the lucky charm. That's why they won.
Lucky charm. Yeah,
I love it.
I sprinkled the magic dust in it. So, Fried. Oh, Fried is talking now. Game 2 tonight. You know how the Dallas Cowboys used to be called America's team? Well, the Florida Panthers are Canada's least favorite team.
Oh yeah. Oh,
They are being accused of being dirty, and now after Bennett knocked out Solars, and then obviously Kachuk is Kachuk. What do you think, Defo? Was that a dirty hit that Bennett laid on him? The goalie that I guess he's out with a concussion, or have you heard that
No,
update?
it just looked like arbitrary bad luck. I don't know that he was being overly aggressive there. It just was unfortunate. The guy's leaning forward, and Bennett fell over him. It didn't seem. Maybe I'm dead wrong. I mean, you could see the Ekblad hit was somewhat deliberate. The Hagel thing in the Tampa Bay Lightning series, absolutely deliberate. But I'm not sure that I would categorize this as that. It's kind of like when a guy gets low bridged in a basketball game and happens as incidental contact, but it really looks atrocious. It's unfortunate, the result, if you're a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. But as our good friend Doug McLean told me, the only way Toronto wins the Stanley Cup, I hate to get back to politics, would be since the Stanley Cup is a property of Canada, is if the prime minister who was meeting with Trump yesterday imposed an enormous tariff on the Stanley Cup, and that way it could never leave the country. So, I'm thinking the Panthers bounce back tonight. That guy Wall
let
was,
it leave, right?
No, we'll see.
He won't let it leave.
Wall was not exactly a brick
tariff
wall
on
when he came in there. That's for
This
sure. He
sound-
helped put the
I
Panthers
know
back
this
in.
sounds strange. I'm still, my degenerate angle the other day, and I talked about this at Taco Craft with Falsetto. I said Panthers are going to lose game 1, and but I didn't put my money where my mouth was. I did not put money on Toronto to win game 1, but I said after that, then I'm going to bet the Panthers to win the series because you get better odds after you're in an 0-1 hole. I still think the Panthers are going to win the series.
You're not going to get good odds if the guy has a concussion, though.
Yeah, but their backup goalie looked okay, although he did give up 3 goals.
He's going to give the
in
3
His
goals.
teeth were rattling.
He looked like a sieve. What are you talking about?
His teeth were rattling.
They gave up 4 goals in the last
in
period.
in the third period.
The third
all
period.
4 goals. Were in the
Yeah,
third
so what do you mean he wasn't? He did
Wait,
okay.
no,
I
It
could
was
have
3 goals. It
gave
was
up
3
3
goals.
goals. I could
3
cover.
goals in the third period.
Mark, it's not like you're talking
I
to Don
could-
Cherry over there. He jumps on the bandwagon when the finals come around or the Stanley Cup playoffs come around every year. He didn't watch a second of hockey this year.
No, I
And I'll
don't
tell you
watch
something,
regular
in
season.
hoops, I bet last year, I bet Indiana to beat Boston, and they should have won the first 2 games. And this year, look at Indiana so far.
Yeah.
No,
Could
Indiana.
have got great odds. That was a monster bet.
It was, and it's shocking the way Cleveland just collapsed last night. All right, let's talk Mother's Day. I know, I was asking Goldberg here, but Fried, what's going on here for Mother's Day? You're going to be giving out some special uh, extras to the moms that come in?
We'll see what happens.
All
We're going
right.
to talk right now. As soon as we finish up this video, we'll figure out what we're going to do for the moms.
All right, but this is a great place to bring mom to kick off Mother's Day. I mean, nobody, mom doesn't want to cook dinner, obviously, but she also doesn't really want to cook breakfast or brunch. So
No.
come on in here. And,
Yeah, the breakfast is real busy. It's nice.
Yep.
The bagels are great. Lox is great. Everyone's got money for mom.
I hope I did say we don't have money for $30 anymore, but we do have money for a couple of bagels, dozen bagels. It's all
That
good.
platter looks sensational, by the way. And then I'm always jealous when I'm not there of Lubie with the corned beef hash, man, which might be the best in the city. Right? If there was a corned beef hash blind tasting, I think Grandpa's.
There you go. There's the next thing.
I think
Next contest.
Yeah, we could. Well, I don't know what the Sentinel will think of next. Matzo ball soup was a little bit of a arcane one, but they did it in combination with Passover, and the still to be determined is the winner of, I guess, the People's Choice voting. So we'll see if it's a clean sweep for 2Js or a split decision. I don't know. I think they're going to be announcing it either later today or tomorrow.
So it's all done already. The soups have been tasted, or that's just on the internet. Though,
Well,
right?
that one
There's no
is
tasting.
voting by the public, and
So whoever writes it the best wins.
whoever, again, it's a popular vote, but I don't know who's counting the votes. So, God. But Grandpa's, at least you made the top
I'm happy.
five. No, the
I'm
Your top
happy.
three,
I'm happy.
all of South
Top-
Florida.
Top three.
You were in the discussion and you hit the medal stand. That's all you can want, right? So everybody wants gold.
No
but
hard losers.
You're gold in my heart. You know that.
Like I
100%.
said, we finished behind Bruce at 3Gs.
Yeah, and
he's a player.
every holiday I'm in here picking up my soup for, whether it's Passover or for Rosh Hashanah, which is going to be when we're in here for the next show. We're going to take a little summer break, which is good. And speaking of breaks, let us take our first break. We'll cut Goldberg loose. It looks like he's a busy man. He has things to do, places to be.
He's
And,
got money to make, Mike Mayo.
yeah,
He's got money
I
to
know.
make. Yeah.
I already made my money on sovereignty. That's another thing we got to talk about. Sovereignty skipping the Preakness Stakes, but we'll talk about
It's
that
always happening.
and
It sucks.
more after these words
It's not what it used to be.
on the Lunchbox. When people ask me about the best restaurants in South Florida, Casa D'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First-class dining, top-flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef-founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner. Reservations recommended for a special occasion or any occasion. Casa D'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk and Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays, including their new burrito tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, It's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open face smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. For the finest poultry and the freshest fish, Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, open 7 days. Since 1951, a South Florida tradition for stone crab in season, Thanksgiving turkeys, holiday feasts, and everyday eating. Great steaks, house-made sausage, and prepared foods, too. Delaware is not just a market, it's a celebration of taste, quality, and old-fashioned customer service with a smile. Sign up for their weekly email flyer at DelawareChicken.com and tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a great bagel with lox, matzo ball soup, deli sandwich, and rugelach, you know where I go? Grandpa's Restaurant in Dania Beach. It's a South Florida institution since 1957 that was revamped a few years back by a pair of New York bagel baking legends. Full deli and appetizing case with spreads, salads, and platters for takeout and catering. Grandpa's is near Federal Highway just north of Sterling Road, open 7 days for breakfast and lunch. Go eat and enjoy. It's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. For the finest and authentic Greek cuisine, Taverna Kima is the place to go. 6298 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. It's been around for nearly 2 decades. Every day is a feast with grilled lamb and fish, house-made spinach pie and moussaka, gyros, traditional dips, mezes, with soft, warm pita. It's open 7 days for lunch and dinner with happy hour daily from 3 to 6 p.m., indoor, outdoor, private dining. So celebrate life at Taverna Kima. For reservations and information, go to tavernakima.com. When I get a craving for real Southern barbecue, Fat Boy's Barbecue is the place that I call home. Cooked low and slow with proper smoke and dry rub goodness, Fat Boy's has some of the best ribs, brisket, burnt ends, pulled pork, and chicken around. 5 delectable sauces and the tastiest collard greens, candied yams, and cornbread this side of heaven. 4 locations, including Deerfield, Coral Springs, Cypress Creek Road, and their newest location in downtown Fort Lauderdale, 706 South Federal Highway. Open 7 days with great lunch specials, online ordering, delivery, catering, and food trucks for your next event. To order, go to fatboysbarbecue.com today. That's Fat. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox at Grandpa's Bagel Deli and Cafe in Dania Beach. It's just off of Federal Highway, just south of Dania Beach Boulevard, right across from Jackson's, where we're going to be
We're there
next week.
Nice.
On Monday for one of our Andy Cagnetta Transworld Business Advisors iconic eateries of South Florida shows. Looking forward to getting back in there, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to eat the kitchen sink, given my new health regimen, but be that as it may. All right, we've gone from 2 marks to 0 marks, but we've got a Lubie and we've got a Defo. And Defo, it is time to talk Triple Crown, or should we say, I think the crown is vacant in terms of we're not going to get one this year, and I don't know if anybody in the sport cares about it anymore. Certainly the people at Godolphin, the wealthy, the sultans and sheiks from Dubai, they run their own breeding operation, so they don't really care about getting a big stud package or deal, syndication deal, because they're keeping
Is that what it is?
sovereignty. Yes, that explains the rationale behind why he's not going to go for a Triple Crown, because they're not looking to sell him for $50 million his breeding rights. They're keeping him in their own stud operation. And because of that, they're deciding to do what they think is the best thing for the horse, and that's pointing towards bigger riches down the road with the Breeders' Cup Classic and spacing it out and not running back in 2 weeks. Defo, were you surprised by this?
Not especially. It's always been a debate. I saw you posted something about that, and there are arguments both ways. But you don't see horses run back 2 weeks after running a mile and a quarter over Churchill Downs in the slop. Maybe the timing of the Triple Crown needs to be changed. That's been talked about forever. I don't think it'll ever change, but I certainly don't blame the connections. And then look, if you're looking at stud fees for a horse and the horse wins the Kentucky Derby at 3, pretty much going to be worth a fortune anyway. So I don't know that adding the Triple Crown, maybe it increases the stud fees, but by some amount, some percentage. But I don't think it's enough to justify Bill Mott. Being a great trainer one of those trainers that you think has tremendous concern for his horses, maybe more so than whatever acclaim he could achieve by winning a Triple Crown. I respect the decision. I'm hoping journalism, though, goes in the Preakness because I did connect yesterday through our good friend Luca Panici for an interview next week prior to the Preakness with Umberto Rispoli, who is a very exciting, young man and has been dominating on the California circuit and ran second with journalism in the Kentucky Derby. So I'm hoping he runs in the Preakness to make that interview a little bit more relevant. But I don't blame anybody for skipping the Preakness 2 weeks after the Kentucky Derby. Real rough go. And if you're planning on completing the Triple Crown, there's a reason it's won so infrequently, and that is to have a horse over a span of 5 weeks run those 3 races at very difficult distances. It's shortened up in the Belmont now that they've been running at Saratoga. I guess this will be the last year of that. But, you don't want to see the interest of the horse forsaken for the fact that a humanly created achievement is at stake. So I'm okay with that. I loved Sovereignty in the Kentucky Derby. I thought the fact that he ran second behind Tapan Street in the Florida Derby was no knock on him, probably maybe even a benefit. And the horse looked great. So very exciting.
Lubie,
I just want to ask you guys.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask me to ask you. I want to ask you, as the person, again, Defo and I mock soccer all the time because there are things I think they should change about it. Again, I think offsides in hockey is one thing. It actually doesn't get in the way that often. Offsides in soccer literally takes the fun out of soccer. And Defo and I have hammered him for that. And real soccer fans or real football fans will tell you, oh, that's the sport. Stop changing our sport. You don't get it. So as a guy who's not the horse racing fan, I'll ask you, I know Defo sort of alluded to people bringing it up, but what are your thoughts on them giving, because Sarni sort of talked about this and Blanche Maines just said it on our chat, that they should have a 3-week.
I've been saying it for almost 30 years after Charismatic broke down.
Should they give more of a gap?
So basically,
between the 3 races.
What I've been saying since, I covered the Triple Crown Trail in 1999 when a D. Wayne Lucas horse named Charismatic won the Derby, came back and won the Preakness pretty easily, and he was not a highly regarded horse. And then in the Belmont Stakes, it was tragic because as he's going for his Triple Crown sweep, he came up with an injury in the final, I guess it was 2 furlongs of the race. I'll never forget sight of Chris Antley, his jockey, who is now no longer with us, jumping off the horse and tending to him in distress. He broke a bone. I don't know if Charismatic had to be put down or not. I don't remember that. All I remember is after the race, people started saying, is this too much that we're asking for these young horses to compete these longer, grueling distances in such a short span? At the time, D. Wayne Lucas said, and again, he's an old school traditionalist, is like, no, this is what makes the Triple Crown, the Test of Champions, 5-week spacing. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe back then, but you've got to stay in the game. You've got to engage. Now you had all these casual fans who are looking forward to Sovereignty maybe winning a Triple Crown.
A lot of people were watching that Derby.
And then he doesn't even come back and try, and people don't understand the intricacies of, well, the owners don't care because they're rich Arab sheiks and they already have their own breeding operation. And I just think it is high time where horse racing, if they wanted to attract more casual fans.
Triple Crown is how you do it.
You Triple Crown. And you go, the spacing should be the Kentucky Derby, the traditional first Saturday in May. You have the Preakness Stakes and space it out so that it's on the Sunday or Monday of Memorial Day weekend, which would be this year 3 weeks after or sometimes 4 weeks after the Derby. And then you have the final leg, the Belmont Stakes, on July 4th weekend. So it's kind of like NASCAR always has their big races around American holidays, and American horse racing should have their big Triple Crown races around major holiday weekends. It would lead to more eyeballs. It would lead to more interest. It would lead to more money in the betting pool, and it would lead to more dead money in the betting pool, like all those schmucks who bet on Sandman because he's part owned by this influencer guy who has 5 million followers. And all his followers bet Sandman to win. Sandman should have been 10-1. He got bet down to 5-1, second choice. But in all the pools that the degenerates play, like the Deli Double and the Exactas, that's why the Exacta came back so short, because in those pools, Sovereignty was really the second choice and was playing like a 4 or 5-1 second choice. Unfortunately, of course, I should have put more money on Sovereignty straight to
No,
win,
it's that.
but I was happy. I ended the day up like $400.
But I'm okay, Defo. You're traditionalist, and we did this with baseball where we were against the wild card. But I'll give you credit when something works. You'll admit, okay, like baseball, as boring as it is for all of us these days, you at least keep attention to the standings at the end of the year because those last 2 or 3 teams have a shot. It opens up to like 5 or 6 more teams. Do you think they you sort of just said it, right? Like you have to worry about that. That does make it more intriguing. That does spread out the Triple Crown winners. But again, for people like me, I remember before I even met you guys, when there was a chance at a Triple Crown, I wouldn't watch the Derby. I would watch that third race. I would watch the Belmont because it was history. So like to me, it brings in like a person like me. I would have watched if Sovereignty was racing. Like I don't know if I'm gonna watch the Preakness. So do you think they should space it out?
I would say yes. I mean, if they wanted to generate more interest in it. I mean, I happen to be a fan of 2 sports. My favorite sports are horse racing and boxing. And both sports are very difficult to condone everything that happens there. I mean, boxing, 2 guys are beating the crap out of each other. And in horse racing, your interest should be in the animal. I mean, it's hard to condone some of the things that go on in horse racing, although I do believe that the people that are involved in the sport deeply care about the horses for the most part. So, especially at this level, I mean, where you have horses that are of this level of value. Yeah, I'd love to. I agree with Mike. I'd like to see the Preakness maybe a month after the Kentucky Derby, and maybe a month later on run the Belmont Stakes, and I think that would be more than a fair test. But to try and run a horseback that's never done a mile and a quarter before, these are emerging athletes. I mean, they're just past being babies, and there are a lot of changes physically that go on with horses that are 3 years old, and we see this because that's why you get so many surprises in the Kentucky Derby. I'd love to see it on more of a fair level in terms of the time because horses don't race as frequently as they used to.
No, everything has
At
changed.
this level.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be these Derby horses would have a big foundation of races when they were 2-year-olds, and that was considered a key to winning the race. And then that got blown up in the last decade. Yeah, Justified didn't even make his first start until January of his 3-year-old year. All the old rules are gone, and now you've got to adapt to the times. I mean, baseball has adapted and done things that sicken purists, but it's helped, make the game more relevant.
At least they tried.
And horse racing, I think, if I was the people that were running the Preakness now, and NBC especially, because it used to
Don't
be
you want eyeballs?
It used to be the Triple Crown was all run on the same network, NBC, and then Fox came in and poached the Belmont Stakes and Naira. So now you have the Belmont is run on Fox. But if I was NBC, and now the Preakness is in a bit of a, I guess, transition because this is the last one being run at Pimlico before it gets knocked down and renovated. It's going to be moving to Laurel for a couple of years. And then when it goes back to a rebuilt Pimlico, I don't think the same people that own and operate the track, the same ones who own Gulfstream, are going to be running Pimlico and the Preakness anymore. But if I was whoever's in charge of the Preakness right now, I would even do it for this year's race. I would say, hey, by the way, we're moving the Preakness till July 4th. And then all of a sudden, Sovereignty runs in the Belmont Stakes at the beginning of June. And then you have the Preakness will be the final leg on NBC. And Sovereignty maybe would run if he won the belt. Now, it's too late, obviously, for this year. But I would just say who deemed it that the Belmont has to be the final leg because it's a mile and a half usually. But, there needs to be something done with the schedule to kind of make sure that we get Kentucky Derby winners running at least in the second leg of the Crown, because otherwise when you have something like this, and I got bad news for you. I think I read that journalism is probably not going to go in the Preakness.
There goes my show.
Where
I was feeling really good about this day.
I'm sorry.
Can
Can
I grab a bite of one of those bagels now to consult myself?
Baeza is
Who
not.
cares
going.
about Umberto Rispoli if he's not running in the Preakness?
Yeah, Baeza is not running in the Preakness either. The third place finisher.
That horse was flying in the Derby.
Yes.
The problem is, Pimlico and the Preakness is considered a speedballs front runners kind of race, and it's kind of, I think, what contributed to maybe Sovereignty not going for it is the tighter turns, and he's a dead closer. I think he deserved the shot because he ran against, a speed favoring bias at Gulfstream in 2 races, And he is a horse of such ability that even though he was wide and in the Florida Derby, he still ran a great race to finish second, and he still was making up ground in the end. So I think he deserves a shot at the Preakness, but he's not going to get that shot because of the way that current horse racing.
I still think it's important to talk to the jockey who was under because
he's a great guy.
Again, once sovereignty's out, they're all like, screw it. I feel like that's sort of what they're all going to do, right? Like, once the champion's not there, you still want to win, you want the money, but I'm not going to lie to you. And again, I follow way behind you guys when it comes to horse racing, but I've been around you guys enough. We're at Goldstream every Friday. Hey, Joe Beja, I love when you tune in. That it gets in your blood a little bit, the action. Ken, who was never a horse racing guy, we'll talk about it. We'll keep track on it. Like when I saw that note, it hurt a little. Like as a person who doesn't even care about the sport, I was like, that's annoying.
It's deflating. But the show will go on, and there will still be a winner, and there'll be money to be made, and that's what
I don't agree though with the idea of flip-flopping the events.
Okay,
I think the sequence should remain the same.
Okay,
spacing them out, I was always in favor of that. I never thought it was good to have the Preakness 2 weeks. I mean, look, horses rarely won the Triple Crown, no matter how great they were.
Yeah,
and I like the idea of spacing it at least another week between the Derby and the Preakness.
Okay. Look, we got some herring, and Mark Fried is back. Put on your headsets. We're talking horses now in the Triple Crown, and Sovereignty not going to run in the Preakness. And again, this year the Belmont Stakes is going to be conducted at Saratoga Racecourse at 1.25 miles, not the traditional 1.5 miles. While the new Belmont is finally being rebuilt. It should be back at Belmont next year in 2026.
So is Belmont going to be a horse track again?
It's kind of like horse. It's going to be a horse track. It might also be a casino. It's next to the the Islanders Arena. I don't know. It's going to be a much smaller scale facility, which is a shame. I used to love going out to Belmont. With my brother and with friends, and on Father's Day with my dad, we'd all have picnics out there. But
Belmont was beautiful.
Yeah.
What they do to Ruffian?
That was the other thing.
I don't want to touch that girl. Man.
Well, I think there was some speculation that while they were digging up and plowing out the infield, that they moved the remains of Ruffian, who's buried there. Of course,
she was my favorite.
She tragically went down in a match race with.
I was there that day, believe it or not, when Ruffian went down.
Oh, you were?
Wow.
Foolish Pleasure, Ruffian match race.
She was beautiful.
I mean, it's such a sad moment. So, and that's the other thing too. I mean, the physicality and the stress on these horses. The last thing you want to do is have more problems with that. So,
yeah.
How this isn't even at least remotely under consideration is beyond my
This points to why racing needs a centralized body to kind of like bring the different competing, interests together and say, hey guys, let's do what's best for the sport overall, growing the sport, protecting the animals, and also, engaging interest and, changing times deserve changing things around sometimes. So, all right, we're not going to solve this one today. I will give you the Preakness winner, but first we'll take a break. Let's take our second break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more about the latest goings on here at Grandpa's with Mark Fried after these words.
See you in a bit.
Hey Lunchbox fans, is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligans, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks. They're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Guess who's back and better than ever? Juan's, for the best in classic old school Chinese cuisine, a family run South Florida favorite since 1966. It's at 664 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale, open every day but Tuesday for lunch and dinner. Chef Alex is carrying on the family tradition that started 4 generations ago. It used to be known as Christina Juan's Mandarin House, and you're going to love it as Juan's. They've got all your favorites: wonton soup, spare ribs, egg rolls, dumplings, Peking duck, and more. Combo lunch specials daily and takeout and delivery. For more information, go to their Instagram page at wans.fl. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to try.
Crash, I hope not.
When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox, Mayo, and Defo sent you. Feel like getting away without leaving town? Then you got to check out the House on the River in Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful, restored, historic home with indoor and outdoor dining right on the New River. You'll think you're in Charleston or Savannah. It has a gorgeous patio, porches, and private dining areas, and it offers unique experiences perfect for a date night or fun times with friends and family. It has weekend brunches, happy hour, dinner Wednesday through Sunday. There's also a high tea on Friday and Saturdays, and the popular House of Veuve Champagne experience on weekends. The House on the River is in Fort Lauderdale's Himmershey district, just south of the Science Museum. For reservations and
All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. Well, Fried is enjoying the baked salmon salad. He says he hasn't had it here. To me, baked salmon salad is a mainstay here. It's so good, and it's a little bit different from your cream cheese and sliced Nova. And Fried, you said you give the thumbs up to your own baked salmon salad. Yeah,
I enjoyed it just now a little bit.
It's really good.
And
Still underrated, Mike Mayo. The chicken salad. I remember when you just absolutely fell in love with it, and you used to rip me in the tuna salad.
No, tuna
or,
salad.
you
is
know,
great.
just being an old Jew.
I'm an old Jew now. I can appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
I like when you get involved. I really do.
Yeah. Hey, so I want to sing some praises of the Grandpa's food before we get back into some of the. I still did want to talk about the Preakness because there are some fresh shooters who I like in this race, but
The Belmont?
no, in the Preakness.
Oh,
the
the all the way in the
okay.
Preakness. Okay.
So the bagels here. This is
the
what
Preakness is the next race.
when
Look at
we.
those, you guys haven't touched that platter.
No,
We've
first of all,
tried.
I was at the gym.
The bagels are massive.
So I got to praise two things here. The bagels here, of course, which
They're so
to
great.
me should have won best bagels when the Sentinel did that. And I hate to trigger Fried here, but
But
that's
they were
one.
top 3 in that too.
That's
right?
one
You
that-
guys have been robbed. I mean,
that one we didn't do a blind judges taste test, and
They were
I
second or
just
third
to
in that,
me,
right?
there's another place that won. The bagels are okay. Again, some of the finalists had me scratching my head, but to me, you guys make the best bagels in South Florida.
Oh, yeah.
It rivals anything that I've had in Brooklyn. It's because this guy grew up making bagels and bialys in Brooklyn, so he knows what he's doing. And Lubie noticed, he goes, "Oh, they've got the seeds on both sides. You don't see that
You
everywhere
never-
now."
no,
That's-
never.
That's
You never see
essential, right? That's one of your points of pride.
You hand dip them and they stay on. If you throw them, they don't stay on.
Right.
So,
And some of these places that use machines to make them, and it's only the top that gets hit with the coating.
100%.
because it's a steam oven,
And that's
and you
just
can only put it on one side.
that's a shonda. That's a shonda. You
It's-
guys do it the
It's
right
fine.
way.
It's just annoying because if you are like, sometimes I only eat half a bagel, especially when they're this big. I only eat a quarter actually, but to get the half that doesn't have the stuff, like that sucks.
You got beat.
And this is the bottom of my
Yeah, it's
sesame. It's
full.
coated with sesame seeds. I
Nice.
love it.
The most
And-
disappointing thing, though, about the show and the way it is right now, Mike Mayo,
Yeah.
with this new Ozempic thing, is that the food doesn't disappear fast enough.
No, I'm being more refined.
Mark, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, but
I
he
mean,
lost
do we need to
weight.
get this
You
guy
need a
back
little
to where he
more
was?
now.
I hit the gym this morning, so I have a little bit more appetite. I also ordered an omelet. I think it was the Mexican omelet that came out. It's got a little guacamole, got covered with salsa, a little bit of bacon. Is that spinach in there?
It looks
I
spinach.
think I ate half your potatoes.
Yeah. Oh, and those potatoes.
No, they
They
cooked
were
them
well
perfect.
done.
We
I
got
like them.
got the home fries well done. They come out so good, and that's essential to me. But the other thing we were praising is your tomatoes. I don't know what it is, how you do it, but every time I get a sliced tomato here, it's perfect. It's got the perfect ripeness, great flavor, not mushy. I hate a mushy
That's the
tomato.
problem. They're really allowed.
Defo, he thinks I pick them in the backyard. You know.
No, I mean, we know it's a Tony Sperano thing. You're getting the best tomatoes out of New Jersey, no?
Yeah.
Like you were living in Vineland, New Jersey or something.
I think it's all about buying them, ripening them right, using them when they're ripened. I really think everybody gets tomatoes from the
Is Clive the
produce guy, but the key is just to keep them moving and use them when they're ripe.
Yep.
You know, and not too soft.
And
'Cause
you
once
know,
they get soft,
I
and they
hate
don't
that.
need the biggest ones, but
well, you have like the keeper of the cup, the Stanley Cup. Here, I think Clive is the keeper of the tomatoes. He
tomato.
makes sure you don't cut them until they're just the right amount of ripeness. And
yeah.
job
John
well done.
Chaffee is calling for a big bite on a bagel, Michael.
No, not gonna do it. I've already
Your
finished.
When are we
fans- your
going to see
fans
you
are calling
live?
you out.
Defo? Where is he?
The
already?
mornings are tough for
They're all
him.
chanting
Sometimes I
Mayo,
think you take
Mayo.
them ahead of time.
No, he's
What
live
made
and
this show
living it.
popular was the big bite, and
It
it's
used
like
to
7-Eleven eliminating the Slurpee from
it
their.
repulsed you. You know, it's like it's such a what was it called? Cognitive dissonance. Where it's like
Yes.
on one hand they're saying it's disgusting, don't ever do that, don't be that,
But
don't
they
be
have to
next
watch.
to me.
It's like a
And
car
then it's like,
But
we
this is
want
show
more.
business, Michael. It's
I
show
know.
business.
But
You
in
gotta
order,
appease your fans. You can't ignore your fans. They're screaming for you to do a big
So,
bite on this bagel here.
reminded-
with
I guess,
cheese on it.
my God.
I've done a couple of big bites in the last week or so that shocked and amazed.
You did the
a
one
couple-
at Pepe's.
Yeah, Pepe's. I did where I shoveled a whole slice of the
It
tomato
was like
pie.
because they have a
Did you
small.
swallow a whole
Yes,
matzo
I
ball
saw
yesterday?
that. I actually watched that one.
No, it's good. The Pepe's guy was very interesting.
He's
but
got nice pizzas, though,
the,
right?
the pizza's good.
Very good. And speaking of good pizza, Patsy's from Harlem opened in Boca now.
And did you
Right.
go?
I haven't been yet, but my buddy, the Sheik, went in there and he proclaimed it like the best pizza in South Florida. He loved it. He said,
Okay, good.
I'm
He used-
gonna
he
give
used to go to
I'll give a
Tucci-
poke for somebody right now. After
Yeah,
you
go
finish.
ahead. But
No,
he
you
used-
finish.
I don't know if you go to Tucci's. He used to go to Tucci's because he lives up in Deerfield half the year. And
I know
he
Tucci's.
used to be high on Tucci's. He likes Lucali down in South Beach and in Brooklyn. But he went into Patsy's, said this is the new, his new
It's
favorite.
New York pizza. It's New York style.
Well, yeah, but it's full pies. You can't order a slice. But it's right down there next to our friend Eddie Pozzoli at Corvina. But Patsy's is now open. I'm dying to get in there. And you live near there, so you could check it out.
Yeah,
Could be our
so I'm
guinea
not
pig.
too far. I'm in Deerfield.
You gotta. What's
But
your
I'm going to
local?
tell you something.
Yeah.
Right by me on the corner used to be Umberto's.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to like them better.
And it was good.
Yeah.
But then they changed hands and it went downhill, I thought. And now there's a guy there, I think it's Michael's, that used to be right on Hillsborough Boulevard over the bridge
Okay.
on the left-hand side. I never really liked it. But now for some reason I went out, I had friends come in from California and they ordered a Sicilian pie
Okay.
that was high,
Yeah.
but it was fluffy.
Interesting.
And they cut the whole slices in half. So you look like you got
You need
like
too
you
much.
could eat
Oh,
could eat 6 of those.
so
You
there's
really
like-
had 3 slices or maybe a little less. They were out of this world when I tell you. And I'm a old time Sicilian guy from Armando's.
Armando's under the Kings Highway subway
no,
station.
Armando is the one by the
On Avenue L?
station. No, on Rockaway Parkway.
See, there's two Armandos.
Right by OTB
I don't know
over
if the
there.
same ownership, but there was one under the Kings Highway station.
Okay.
That had the greatest Sicilian. I think it was the same owner.
And
because,
they had the real square where the 2 middle ones had no crust.
right.
It's not a rectangle.
Were you a middle
now.
guy or a corner
I'm
guy?
a corner guy.
I'm an edge guy. I want like one nice crunchy part and then
Yeah.
one cheesy.
I could go there if I had to, but the one in the middle is a little rough.
But speaking of those Sicilian pies, I don't know if you're into the Detroit style pizza, which is basically Sicilian pizza. Up in Delray, a place called Death by
Death by Pizza, right?
Yeah, Death by Pizza has great product. I mean, it's fluffy but crunchy, and got the melted cheese
What's
over
it
the
called?
edges.
Death by
by Pizza.
People really love it. It's not just like I've seen people all over the
And
place.
it's in Boca?
It's in Delray. They have now two
Delray.
locations,
Not bad.
one
I can
downtown and one out west by like 441 and Atlantic. But two
And
locations.
you're talking round slices? Or
No, they
Sicilians?
have strictly, they call it Detroit style pizza, but they do sell them by the slice. And good stuff. Good people too. It's a brother and sister that started. They started during the pandemic doing the pizzas. They also have a bakery and cookie store and all that stuff. But that's good stuff. I'll text you the
And
details
where's
on
the
that.
cookie and stuff place?
That's
in
also in
Delray?
Delray, different separate place. So I think it's, I don't even know what that's called. Something my two cookies. Or
Death
something
by
like
cookie.
that. Death by cookies.
That's what it should be.
Should be.
That's more fitting.
All right. I think we got to take our third
We
break.
do.
We do have
Wow.
to take our third break. But I'm giving out two Preakness winners. Number one, River Thames, which is a Todd Pletcher horse that was down here at Gulfstream and got knocked off the Kentucky Derby trail. But I think he has tactical speed and is going in the Preakness River Thames. I have him in the Preakness Future book. I'm so sick. I bet the Preakness Futures before the Derby went off. And but River Thames,
Very normal.
his
Exactly.
his
On this crew.
stablemate Grande got scratched from the Derby. Grande, I have a feeling, is going to come back in the Belmont. So he's going to have River Thames. And then Dwayne Lucas trains a horse named Caldera, and it's partly owned by the My Racehorse people, which is another one of these syndicates. And Val's sister is a part owner of Caldera. It's a horse that has some ability, didn't have enough points to qualify for the Kentucky Derby, but has a front-running style that should be conducive to Pimlico. And Dwayne Lucas, I think, didn't he win the Preakness last year with Seize the Gray? And I think at
I'm sure he knew what he was saying.
Yeah.
at 88 or 89 years old,
Jeez.
I say
Dwayne's
Caldera is
old,
one to
wow.
watch, but also is going to be overbet because it's one of these syndicates that have like
A million people own it.
10,000 different owners, and all their friends and family are going to be betting on it,
Yeah.
which will.
Also, you can buy a little piece.
Yeah.
One of
Yes,
those
yes,
things.
yes,
That's
yes.
pretty wild.
So, like my
My
Val's
racehorse and all that.
sister, who has this piece of Caldera, finished second in the Sunland Derby,
Oh.
and her fractional ownership. I think she got a check or a deposit in her account for like $22 or something like that. So I was like, it's better to
Well,
just
if
throw
you just
5
bet
to
on
win.
it. Yeah, you bet on it. You
It's
always
like,
Go get
but
some pizza.
that's it.
exactly.
All right, let's take our third and final break, and we'll come back and wrap up this edition. Maybe I'll do a big bite of a bagel, but my belly feels really
No,
good
you
right
don't need
now.
to go crazy. Just a nice bite.
A nice bite.
Just
How about
finish
it?
this. Just leave
All right,
this and
here's
finish
this. It's
it.
a nice bite with the
Tomato.
this
the
one-
What do you got
whole
there?
thing. It's a
Whitefish
whitefish
salad
salad,
or
which is
tuna
really
salad?
nice.
Is it the
Whitefish salad.
whitefish? Oh, I thought it was tuna, but it's
No,
the
that's
whitefish
whitefish.
salad.
It's really
All right,
nice.
It's
here we
like
go.
whitefish.
I'm gonna big bite the whitefish salad. I hope there's
I don't think didn't think tomatoes went on whitefish salad.
Well, Mayo puts tomatoes on everything. He
That
loves
was
to put
nothing.
tomatoes.
What is it?
oh, tuna salad.
He was disappointed. Well, hopefully not disappointed when we get back from Grandpa's
You know what?
Cafe.
I can't even stay on a show if that's what he's
All
doing.
right.
Grandpa's Cafe. Devo's
No,
got
gotta
no.
get
Why you
going
want to
anyway.
hurt
We'll
me?
be back
Why you
after
want to
this.
hurt me because of him?
without.
Freed, it's always a pleasure, my man. I love
I
you.
know. Same here, buddy.
See you when we
I
get
got like 32 conditions put aside for you. One every,
I'm
every show.
ready. I'm going to come down there. I tell you what, it's worth a special trip
Just
to
back
go to
the
the
trunk.
It really is.
Car.
All right, see you guys.
after this. See you later, Deef.
Southern comfort food from a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar, a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, And they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. If you want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting, have I got the place for you. Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasto platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi. Fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed. Hey, it's Mayo here for Prezzo Italian Restaurants. 2 locations, Boca Raton at Park Place on Military Trail and Palm Beach Gardens in the PGA Commons on PGA Boulevard. Contemporary Italian cuisine with house-made pastas, wood-fired pizzas, salads, veal, chicken, and of course their famous focaccia bread with oven-roasted garlic bulbs. In Garlic We Trust is their slogan, and you can trust Prezzo for a great experience with gracious service and tremendous value. Open 7 days, featuring brunch, lunch, dinner, and happy hour. Great wine deals and full bar at both locations. For reservations and more information,
It's short,
All right.
Mr.
Short
Free. We
break.
want to give
Sometimes
our
like a short break.
our
Yeah. Did Defo
fans-
drop? He
yeah, he
really
had to
didn't
go.
want to see me.
No, he had to leave at 12.
That's
He was
okay.
just giving you crap.
All right. Well, again, we're bemoaning the state of horse racing, and to me, another thing as a fan. And right after the Derby ran, our friend Leslie Visser, Hall of Fame sports reporter,
Yeah, she's covered a ton of
former colleague of
Triple Crown
mine
Derbies.
at the Boston Globe. It's kind of weird to say that. I was a little punk intern, and she
You were
was like
there.
a
She was
star
there.
reporter. But Leslie Visser said, "Oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be a rivalry between sovereignty and journalism, like affirmed and Alydar, or Sunday's Silence and Easy Goer." And people love when there's like 2 great horses that go
Yes,
at it. And
yes.
it seemed like, if both of those horses ran back in the Preakness, that would be something to get excited about.
Yes.
And then go to the next one.
And they'll go to the next one.
it's
If journalism turned the tables on sovereignty, and then there's a match race in the between the two of them in the Belmont, that's something that heightens interest.
Well, that's what does it in all sports. Think
And-
about the 80s. Like when the NBA was near bankruptcy, they would air finals on tape delay. Magic Johnson comes in on the West Coast. Larry Bird comes in on the East Coast. The Celtics and Lakers renew their greatness. And that rivalry thrust the NBA into another level. Think about the NFL, the Cowboys and the Niners in the 90s. Takes the
Big
NFL to another
rivalries
level. Like
are good, and people pay attention to these races now.
Yankees, Red Sox. Like,
If journalism goes back to the West Coast, and he's run some big races there over the summer, the Del Mar has a couple of big races in the summertime, and then if
Belmont.
sovereignty stays here, Saratoga, and runs in the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga, and then runs in the the Travers, and then the two of them won't meet up again until if they both make it to the Breeders' Cup, which is all the way in November. I think it's going to be at Keeneland this year, or maybe Churchill Downs.
I like the Breeders' Cup.
The Breeders' Cup is great.
well, real horsing
And it's-
fans do.
It's changed
People
the
like me
whole
don't.
calendar, so that's why Sovereignty is skipping the Preakness, because they have bigger things in mind, which is the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is a $6 million race, and give him time to have a proper campaign, spaced out races. So, all right, I'm going to drop it. I know not everybody out there.
No,
loves
it's actually
horse
brought up a
racing.
lot of conversation. That's the funny thing is people like to wonder what could be, like whatever the sport is, and people like me. The funny thing is if Sovereignty was running, I don't know how much I would even talk about it today, but I would be interested then. Now I'm willing to talk about it now. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. I mean, we'll see.
Well, I'm going to bet it. That's for sure.
You like your
Freed,
action.
did you follow my advice? I wrote 3 horses on a slip
Four.
of paper,
You had
4
four.
horses, and was
They had fourth journalism and sovereignty.
but I had that's
was
a
the
box.
winner.
You call it a 4-horse box, and I had
Who were the other
sovereignty.
ones?
I think I put in
You had like
Burnham
Baez.
Square and the 14-horse. Or I
So you
think
had 2 out of 4.
I had 2. But again, if you do a 4-horse exacta box,
You
it
win.
gets you paid. And anyway, I love Sovereignty. I think he's a really talented horse. He's a kind of. No, he still is. He's still
gonna
going to
race.
run.
He's
He's
just
just not
gonna
going to win a Triple Crown, which is, again, it's a shame, I think. But all right. Anyway,
Well,
we're gonna get out of here.
Well, I just want to remind people.
A couple of sponsor notes. Well, first of all, go ahead.
Well, that's the thing is, it's funny. People talk, and we have sponsors do great stuff with dinner on Mother's Day, and we'll talk about that. My family, both the Lubitzes and the Reyes's, we alternate every year brunch. We like going out early in the day, even if there's a crowd. It's not even a crowd thing. It's just we have the whole day to celebrate the families. We thank God we have lots of mothers and everyone gets to be celebrated. So that's why a place like Grampa's to me is perfect when it comes to Mother's Day, because whether you call it brunch place or not, I don't know about that. I know they have great breakfast and they have great lunch. So you can cover all the bases.
That's a great brunch place.
And if you eat in the middle, you have brunch.
You can have an omelet. You can have bagels
You know what?
and
It's such
beautiful
a nice
fish.
day, and I love coming in. And I got to say, I'm bringing my wife in this week.
Nice.
On Sunday, because she's the best host.
She's a little ray of
that
sunshine.
nobody can buy. You know what I mean?
No, and I
fun.
volunteered to be the host. He said, "No, not unless you wear a bra."
You're not his wife.
maybe
His wife's
a
great.
year ago.
Yeah, a year ago. I
So
needed
you know
it.
what? She's great. She's you walk people in. They're happy to see us.
Yep.
I'll be running people. I'll be sitting people.
Nice.
So you know what? I look forward to it. I love families. So you know what? When they come in as families and everybody's in families, it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
It is, and this is the place to be. You're going to be open. What 7 a.m. is your opening time on
6
Sunday?
o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Oh, 6. See, that's the thing.
Ooh, then you come
before everyone.
If
like,
you come in at 6, you get the hot bagels right out of the
yeah,
oven.
ooh,
That's the
You get
best.
them hot at 7 and 8. I know. We bake them all day.
I know
so,
you bake them as they
as we need them.
as you
so,
get.
unlike many places.
But I love that
No,
that fresh bagel.
and every once in a while, I'll hand out a free little bag of bagels, a couple of bagels here and there,
Nice.
take them home.
Nice.
So we'll see. You know,
This is the
if I'm
Mother's
not
Day
too busy.
place to be. And then I also want to remind people, our great sponsor, Tropical Acres, Studi Alley family. I just saw Jack. Jack comes in here.
I'm gonna meet you for that lobster.
Yeah, we
night.
got to go for the
I'll
twin
go, I'll meet
lobster.
you
No, it's
guys.
great.
Yeah,
$39.
because I really feel bad. I've never been there.
You
It's
got to
great.
go, because the
And I
Studi
like
Alley's,
Jack and his wife.
Well,
I
no-
sat right in this table.
Yeah.
actually,
No, they love this place.
they're
when they
great
came.
people.
But I
and
don't see them as
family
much 'cause
run-
I don't go there.
no, no.
Well, the lobster special is always a good special, but right now the fact that one lobster may be going for the price of what their 2 lobster
No, they
special
get
is,
the
it's utterly
twin-
ridiculous.
Right.
the pound.
But they're like you.
quarter.
They have great vendors that they're almost bulletproof, God
They-
willing, in times like
Like
this.
you got your egg sauce. He's got his lobster sauce up in New England, and they've been dealing with them for 40 years.
Yeah,
so
they do
he
good-
gets
they
a
do
good
right.
supply at a good price, and he's still able to give the $39 twin lobster special Monday through Friday while supplies last. Now, Mother's Day, they're going to be open again, so you can have brunch here and then have dinner
That's perfect.
at Tropical Acres. I call that a true Lunchbox Deli double.
Leave your belt home.
Yeah, it's Mother's Day.
Wear the stretchy pants. And again, they're going to be serving. They have availability all day. They said that they're going to be open from 1 to 8 p.m.
Oh, nice.
serving the Mother's Day brunch. And they're doing the same thing on Father's Day, except Father's Day, they open at 3 p.m., 3 to 8 p.m. And again, they're usually closed on Sundays, but these 2 upcoming Sunday holidays, they will be open. Give them a call for a reservation, 954-989-2500. And we're going to be doing a live show at Tropical Acres. Jack requested. He said, "Hey, it's been a
We're missing.
while.
Love Jack.
He wants to make us some steaks and prime rib and maybe a lobster or 2.
We're not
Who am
gonna
I to
say
say no? Maybe I'll big bite a whole lobster with the shell and everything. Make Defo happy. But and I got to put in.
Defo will show up for that one.
Yeah, I got to put thanks again to Jonathan and Dan Surfer for 26 Degrees Brewing. And I want to welcome 26 Degrees Brewing is a sponsor now
Nice.
of the show. Again, they have
That
great
place looks so cool.
house-made beers, and believe it or not, they provide beers to a lot
For
of
like a lot
different
of places.
places.
If you're going to
around
places
town.
for beer, you should go there because you probably got their beer.
Yeah, and they have also now introduced a full kitchen and food service. That the menu was created by the very talented Dan Surfer, even though he can't tell a 2J's matzo ball from anything else. No,
They won't
he's
be
a
doing
great-
matzo ball soup, so we will trust
he-
Danny
he-
Surfer.
he-
with
They
the
have a
rest of it.
great pub menu
But they
there.
opened in Pompano.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
on Atlantic, right across
They've
from
been
And
open.
He's at Pompano.
They've been open for years. They're now introducing
food
food.
service,
He's the owner
Oh.
of Blue Collar and Mignonette, 2-star places in Miami,
and he
and he's bringing some. He's helping them with their food.
He has got some great sandwiches and this like pot pie that he said that they have,
And
like
where
a
in
lamb.
Where in Pompano? is
So
it?
isn't it
It's
right across
Atlantic
from
Boulevard-
Cafe Max?
It's right
20
across. It's Atlantic Boulevard, just east of Federal.
Cafe.
Oh.
I'm sorry, it's 2600 East Atlantic Boulevard. Do you know where
It's
there's
on
a
the south side.
Flanagan's is?
I know it is.
It's
I
just
go
past-
down Federal. I make a left. Go to
If
the
you're
water.
going towards the beach and you see the Flanagan's on the right,
Yes, it's right next
it's
to the
right
Flanagan's.
next to Flanagan's. And I was saying, how can you start compete lunch service
It's not the same.
against Flanagan's with their, the Flanagan's has
It's
the
a
whatever
whole
the
different-
Yeah, their lunch
$6.99
special.
burger. But no, Jonathan had a very good point. They're offering lunch specials at 26 degrees. They're open 7 days a week now for lunch and dinner, starting at noon. And he says they're having a lunch special that's $15.99. That includes a beer along with a lunch item. He says, "Oh yeah, Flanagan's." Everybody says, "Oh, the $6.99."
It's not. It's
But
like
it's
11
not.
because you have to pay for the drink. That's
You
like
have
three
to
something.
buy a drink, and the drink is like $4.
Oh, probably higher more. Yeah.
So it's like 7 plus 4 is 11, and then you add the tax and
It's a
tip.
gimmick.
So
Yeah, no, it's a massive
basically,
gimmick.
for a few dollars more, you can get a much higher quality.
But nobody complains because it's a pretty good burger.
No,
It's a
I
big
like
burger.
Flanagan's. I'm not. It's
Yeah.
not a judgment, but
Yeah.
what they're going to be doing
But-
at 26 degrees is like a different.
Yeah, and,
Like Surfer doesn't
Different
mess around.
level.
Yeah.
Different level.
It's good. We're going to be in there for a show also later in the
Nice.
month, Monday the 19th. So a couple of weeks, we're going to focus on the food that they're offering there now at 26 degrees. along with
So it
some of
went
their great
from
meals.
a brewery into a
Brewery
and
with
restaurant.
and a kitchen. So if you
And,
know,
and it's the same size store. And
yeah,
everything?
It's big.
one of
It's
these
like a former
industrial
Winn-Dixie.
places. It's one of those places where you can walk in with a group of 24 and
They don't
wouldn't
care.
bat an eye.
Wow.
And like Three Sons around the corner here, we know I love Joe and Corey. They've done a great job, but also have food and
Yep.
fresh brewed beers. Same thing. Further north, 26 Degrees Brewing. They've been in business a long time, 10 years, but now it's good to see that they have the full kitchen, full food service. It's not dependent on a food truck coming in front from
And
time
you know,
to
the
time.
consistent food, similar things.
So we are looking forward to getting back in there and not eating matzo balls, but eating some of the great new items on their menu. All right, Fried, we're going to
You're the
take a
man.
summer break. We'll see you right before Rosh Hashanah.
I'm out of here.
All
You're
right.
the man. We love you.
Everybody have a good holiday. Happy Mother's
Happy
Day.
Mother's Day, my
Happy
friend.
Mother's Day. We'll see you Sunday, and we'll see you later on today. We're going to be at Taverna Kima, lovely Sophia up in Boca Raton for some Greek happy hour. All right, until then, enjoy every bagel, enjoy every omelet, and enjoy every sandwich.
This is the